The good language teacher doesn't understand the myths and the false beliefs that students follow. So it's very, very hard for a teacher to make a YouTube video that addresses perfectly ridiculous learning solutions, because they would never suspect that anyone would ever believe that. I think there's 3 reasons why it's close to impossible for people like yourself to find a good language learning resource. Well, first of all, there's Google, that rewards mass appeal and size. Google doesn't understand quality in any field. So a big language business with all the staff to put out blog articles and propagate their brand is going to take up all the space and make themselves unavoidable to you. Number 2, YouTube isn't helpful either, because language learning lives in complexity, at least psychologically it does, and YouTube only understands simplicity, such as video titles that always have to address one thing, and they have to be exciting too. The language learner thinks in these terms also. They always want one answer to a simple question. So they're not looking for the video that says, "Tell me all I don't understand about language learning." They're looking for one thing, and they assume that the solution to language learning is always one fix away. The third reason is that the good language teacher and the student never meet, neither mentally nor physically. If there's 10 ways to learn a language and 9 of them are ineffective, well, the large majority of students will be standing in the 9. So the good language teacher is standing alone in the one way that works, the one solution that works, but everyone's over there in the 9 that don't work. So the teacher would never think of going to the 9 because the teacher doesn't even know they exist. Naturally, you could say, well, why doesn't the teacher wave and tell people, well, come over here, this is the way that works? It's not so simple, because the good teacher can't think in the way the bad learner does. The good language teacher doesn't understand the myths and the false beliefs that students follow. So it's very, very hard for a teacher to make a YouTube video that addresses perfectly ridiculous learning solutions, because they would never suspect that anyone would ever believe that. Language learning reminds me of a dentist I knew in Brussels. Every year she would go to remote villages to do charity work in countries where literacy is still a luxury. And apparently one day there's a mum who told her, "My son doesn't like the taste of toothpaste, would it be alright to use honey?" That's largely the problem, because the dentist would never think in these terms. The dentist would never think of warning people against honey. They don't think in these terms. And for good language teachers, it's very hard to think in the terms of the bad language student. We wouldn't even guess half the myths that are out there. I caught just one of these beliefs in my video on The Little Prince, where I told people don't read The Little Prince, it's a very complex book. But apparently the level of disinformation is such that some French purveyors, I'm not going to call them teachers, whatever they do, they're purveyors of the French language, actually do recommend it. I would never have thought that anyone would find it reasonable to read that novel to learn French. So I have to unthink and put myself in the mind of a language learner who has been influenced by the things they hear online. It's really not easy as a professional to deal with these 3 forces, but it explains why the general level of language learning is so ridiculously low. And I really don't think I'm exaggerating in the slightest. If anything, I'm grossly underestimating the problem. It's very, very hard to get a grasp of the infinite level of disinformation in language learning today. And if you enjoyed this video, head off to wecommunicate.com. You'll find your first 10 lessons absolutely free. Try it, see if you like it. I hope to meet you soon. My name's Chris.